Welcome. I am Mechanalyst Tom, and this is SteamWorld Quest. This is from the same developers behind the other SteamWorld games, Dig, Dig 2, and Heist, which you may have heard of. Image Informed Games. And Dig 1 and Dig 2 are action platformer type of games, but they like to delve into the realm of RPGs every now and then. Heist was a 2D tactical turn-based shooter of sorts, and this game, SteamWorld Quest, that came out last year, is a card-based, party-based, just progression RPG. Think Slay the Spire, but with normal RPG progression in it. And it is a lovely RPG that has a lot to talk about when we get into it. Especially when we get into some of the fights where things get hectic. The RNG is going to be kind of throwing me for a loop all the time. It's a great game for improvising while you're speedrunning. And I'm going to do my best to try and commentate exactly what I'm doing, but it might be tricky and it might just be me voicing whatever is going through my head. So yeah, well, without further ado, we've already done the very first speedrun trick of this, which is just to start up a save file and then quit out of it. Saves you about 10 to 15 seconds of load time. So yeah, let's begin in 3, 2, 1, go. Oh, hold on. Oh, well, hold on. Well, this is what happens when I have nerves. We'll just restart this real quick. I somehow thought that that's how we started time, even though I literally just ran this not 5 minutes ago. But now let's actually begin. In 3, 2, 1, go. And this RPG starts off how many RPGs start, but in traditional RPG fashion, where we're just hunting in the woods for a mushroom with our wizard friend. So our two main characters at the beginning here are our Millie, our knight character, and Copernica, our mage. And we're into the first battle, where this is the only battle in the game where the cards are locked in. So they will redraw and draw the exact same cards no matter what. So if we just follow with the exact same card combination every single time, it's going to be a one-turn victory. And we hope from this battle we will get 3 materials. We got 1, which is very unfortunate. We're going to have to take a backup fight that we would normally skip and just reset for. Because that fight can give us anywhere from 0 to 4 of the green material that we need, and we need 3. So it's unfortunate that we did not get that up, but luckily there's a nearly identical fight right here that we can just farm up some more extra materials real quick. And this gets you a little bit into the actual card mechanics of the game. So basically, each character has a deck of 8 cards, and you combine those decks together from your active party, and that is the deck you draw cards from for combat. Okay, now we have enough green material, which is perfect. And yeah, so you end up pulling 6 cards into your hand, and you get 2 redraws per turn. So within those bounds, you try to do the best you can with the cards that you're given. In these early fights, we only have 2 party members, so our options are very limited. So it's mostly just kind of recycling and trying to pick the best cards at the best time. And it can be a bit confusing to watch. But basically with this fight, the enemy is very weak to fire magic, which Copernica has in spades, though her magic stat is not very strong at this point because we've taken nearly 0 fights. So we're kind of just going to be building up steam, which is something I can also explain. So your cards have a Steam value associated with them. So these cards that I just used with our melee gain 1 Steam if you use them. They're typically lower level cards, don't dish out too much damage, are intended for you to build up Steam, and then once you have that Steam built up with the counter at the top, you can use that Steam as a resource to then cast your higher power cards. So that also goes into your deck building aspect, trying to make sure that you don't have too many high Steam cards and you just end up in situations where you can't even use anything. And making sure you're having cards that are going to dish out the damage as fast as you possibly can in regards to this speed run specifically. Unfortunately, this fight went about as expected. And it might as well be a good time to talk about the fact that all bosses that we fight through here have fixed drops that they give you. They give you money, materials, sometimes healing items. The materials we will use to create cards later on, but they give a fixed amount versus any of the overworld fights or smaller monster fights that are out and about. They have random drops, and we try to avoid just about all of them. There's in total, let's see, about 5 planned fights that we take throughout the run, that we could dodge. We take them either because they're difficult to dodge, or they actually give us useful experience at the time or materials. And now we came across some bad guys that lit fire to a town. They're exceptionally bad because they even say out loud they wanted to be an evil henchman. And yeah, we kind of don't want them to do that. So now we just need to try and do our best to take them down quickly. Which it's still very early on. We're just trying to dish out damage as fast as possible. There's not too many extended strategies that we're working with. Dang it. That counter stance is annoying because it can just waste time. Because every time you hit them, they have a chance of countering, so they get a free extra attack. At this point, we're not too worried about damage. We're not too worried about the damage that the enemies are going to dish out to us because we typically only do 1 fight per. Typically only do about 1 fight per chapter at these early ones because they're typically required. And they don't dish out too much damage. And they're also very short chapters, very getting you into the feel of things. Now I gotta do some menu management. We got some just attack increasing items that we picked up so that our melee can dish out more damage. Do a quick save there that heals us up. It would normally also regen all of the regular enemies in the map, but because we don't really fight any of the regular enemies, we are perfectly fine with that, or we're perfectly fine with just taking the healing move. But yeah, there's so much to talk about in this game early on, so I'm sorry about the very heavy commentary at the very beginning, but there's a lot to understand about this game, just in a basic sense to really to understand everything that you're seeing on screen. But we also picked up our 3rd party member, Galileo, which is our kind of a bit of a slacker friend from our hometown here that's on fire. and he is basically our support character. He's going to be doing a lot in the ways of increasing our defenses, lowering enemies' defenses, causing status effects, everything along those lines. And he's going to be quite useful for us. And yeah, again, there's so much to explain. I'll explain more of the deck swapping mechanics in a bit while we go into the deck the next time around. But this boss fight, again, is incredibly simple. We're basically just trying to maximize our damage by weakening his defense while we get out a lot of our melee strikes. Unfortunately, we are not getting a lot of good card combinations here, so it's gonna be a bit of a slow fight. But because it's pretty simple, I think this would be a lovely time that this would be an opening for donations if this were a live event. I'm just gonna build up some steam here. Don't like to see those drain strengths. Those drain strengths. Yeah. We just really are not getting a card combos we want. Ideally, we wouldn't want to be weakened in strength. We wouldn't. Okay. They should hopefully take them down. Oh, lucky crit. Yeah, there we go. That fight down. That fight's typically quite the slog to go through. Yeah, now that our town has been unfortunately destroyed and we've done our best to heal things up, we're off to enlist the League of Heroes, I believe they're called. A group of heroes that our Millie is a part of, a fledgling member of the League of Heroes. And yeah, hoping that they can figure out what the heck's going on with this whole evil army that went and, destroyed our village. And yeah, that's a good example of dodging in this game. So sometimes the enemies are just going to be filling up the entire screen, and we're not really going to have much room to go past them normally. But depending on the direction they are facing and which direction they travel, that is unfortunate that they decided to all increase their evasion. So depending on those factors, we can sometimes, and we'll use it basically all the time, to just eke past ever so slightly through these enemies so that we don't have to fight them. And okay, got enough materials. I kind of took a bit of a risk there in taking that fight, because that fight we need 2 of those yellow materials, and they have potential to give us less, but it's very slim. So I kind of just hoped that it would be fine. We were lucky. But now we're on to the third boss fight. Just a big queen bee. We're kind of a similar thing where we're just trying to maximize our damage output. It is unfortunate that we are not getting the greatest of cards for that. But now we're actually stacking on top of it status effects. Status effects are very useful in this game for you and against you. That stinks. The evasion. I don't want to throw out the poison and waste it in case it misses. But poison does max health percentage, and when we are going to be significantly under leveled at these early points in the game, it's going to be incredibly helpful to have a consistent source of damage over time. That is not going to be dependent on our damage. It's going to very much be in play for these early fights that we're going to be reliant on status effects to make up for our very weak damage. And in this fight, we don't bother taking down the little bees, just because it's just too much time. It's too much time, and every time the queen there also has a steam gauge. Every time they max out their steam gauge, they just summon them back again. So, and this is also a condition where just killing out the main boss will eliminate the smaller ones. So we completely just need to focus on the queen. Yeah, we're just going to be closing at this fight and then going through a bit of dialogue, so this will probably be another good opportunity for donations if we were in an actual marathon setting. And now we're up to the League of Heroes. You can tell they're quite professional heroes. It seems to be quite the lax time of peace at the moment, right before this evil army arrived. So our League of Heroes is literally based at a golf course. So we find out that the League is not there. Their butler seems to have let us know that they've been captured by the evil army. So great. And we want to buy a weapon here. The one thing I did not talk about is combo cards. It's going to be a very important aspect from now on. But if you use all three cards of the same character in one turn, their weapon has a combo card that then gets used. We used it a little bit earlier, just to have our melee dish out a little bit of extra damage, as well as get a little minor heal. But now it's going to be used to dish out the bleed status effect. And we ran across a friend there that ended up being Auric, trapped in the cage. And Auric is as the, I guess you would call it, sidekick to the legendary hero of Gilgamesh. They seem to just have gotten themselves captured as well. So not only do we have to rescue all the regular members of the League, we now need to rescue the legendary sidekick Auric. And Gilgamesh is known in this game as, hey, that statue that's right there on screen, as well as the save points. Gilgamesh is the legendary hero that defeated a great and terrible beast with the assistance of Auric. But obviously, Gilgamesh was the big head, so Auric didn't get a whole lot of the credit for it. But Gilgamesh is widely appraised as the hero of this world, and likely what brought about this age of peace that allowed the League of Heroes to be so lax. That's actually unfortunate. I very rarely run into that fight. But if we accidentally run into fights that we don't want, we can just really quick run away. They get a free turn to take swings at us, but that's perfectly fine. We are mostly not in danger of actually being killed by it, but that just means we want to heal away at a save point. That small amount of damage that we did, especially in these early fights where they're going to be very tight fights. These are very tricky fights to navigate because we have taken almost 0 extra battles, and in this game, every single level matters. That you only have a few main stats, and you only level up 1 stat per character when they level, but those stat increases are significant. I think in a couple levels from now, our melee is probably going to gain 10 attack, and that would give our melee basically like a 70% attack increase. It is an absurd increase, especially for this early game. But now we are on to probably the first actual difficult part of the game. This fight is not intended to be done so early, so we're gonna have to be playing pretty safe and letting our status effects do the damage for us. Okay, we can put Bleed down first. So we have Clayton, the small dual-wielding assassin, and we've got Puppy, the big one with the club. Right now, it is essentially useless to attack Puppy. Because Puppy, while Clayton is still alive, will cast regeneration on itself like that. And that basically cancels out any damage that we would have been doing with our status effects. We want to try and cycle stuff out. So yeah, we're trying to maximize our uptime with status effects to make sure that Clayton goes down quickly. It's a tricky thing to balance. As well as trying to keep regeneration up, which is going to heal us up slowly over time, and that'll mitigate a lot of the damage that we're taking or trying to take down Clayton. It is unfortunate right now that Clayton is hiding with a massive evasion. That's their maximum steam pressure move. So we just kind of have to wait it out because it's very likely we would just whiff any attacks that we attempted to use. So let's get Bleed back on and dish out a healthy chunk of damage. And within a turn, those status effects should kill. So we want to just, we should probably dish out a little bit of extra damage. Yeah, that should be enough, and then we can start dishing out. We can start damaging Puppy. But this is where the fight's annoying up to this point because Clayton likes to use Bleed and Poison on us, which Bleed damages you every single time a card is used. Which is quite effective against enemy bosses that end up using 2 abilities in a row, because it just dishes out all that much more damage. And yeah, now it's just going to be a slow and defensive slog to continually whittle away at Puppy's health. Unfortunately, Puppy used heal like right before Clayton died, so a lot of that damage was just immediately mitigated. I should have been paying attention to Copernicus' health. If she gets hit, she's probably gone. Lucky us. And yeah, from now on, it's mostly just gonna be a very defensive slog to slowly whittle away at Puppy's health. And once Puppy reaches half health, they will be incredibly defensive to physical attacks, which is just frustrating and slows things down even more because poison does max health damage no matter what. Bleed, unfortunately, is physical damage. So bleed damage is going to be lessened in this scenario. Not a great draw here. So we're just going to build up steam. But yeah, now like we're down to half health. It's just going to be a slog to take him down. This would be another excellent time to fit in donations in a marathon setting. Sorry if I can be a bit wordy at times while trying to describe everything that's happening in the game, but it's a lot. There's a lot to describe, and I haven't been going too much into detail on the specific cards I'm using or anything right now, just because at the moment it's not particularly mattering. Mostly just dishing out damage cards and then using status effects. Status effects such as bleed and poison to do all the extra work for us. And with that, this fight will be done as soon as it goes. Thank you, poison. Now we're gonna get a bunch of levels up. You'll see like we're getting like 50 and 70 hit point increases when our health was like barely over 100. So yeah, every single level matters significantly in the early game. So these early ones can be pretty tough. But we got the key from Clayton, free Auric, and Auric goes back to doing his own business. Now we need to go rescue the other League members. And this is a fairly uneventful chapter. Right now we're just gonna be making our way down through these tunnels with not a whole lot going on. So yeah, this would be another excellent time for donations, or if anyone had any questions and wanted me to attempt to go into further detail on anything, now would be a great time. And we can quickly reset enemy positions, which direction they're facing, just by leaving and re-entering the screen. And Copernica here notices some books and reading materials that she's familiar with. She's part of an academy of mage scholars, and it seems that this army, whoever they are, may have been stealing from that academy to gain access to maybe some magics that they should not have access to. Now we make it through, and Doric's been captured again. But this time, we're making sure that he can't get caught up again, and he joins our party. So Auric is our fourth party member, but we can only have 3 in our party at any given time. So someone is going to have to go. And unfortunately, that someone is going to be Copernica. We will never use Copernica in a fight again. Okay, this dodge. Okay, they move down. The top one has to move down, otherwise I can't dodge that one. But yeah, so we've replaced Copernica with Auric. Not for any particular reason to begin with. Copernica is probably more useful at this stage in the game. But Auric, it will be essential for later on. So Auric just needs the experience. And if they're not in the active party, they only get half experience. I'm gonna wear this. And also what you can do for fight dodging, you can just lure them away, and eventually they just have a distance, so they'll just snap back and just run. right past them. And nothing too exciting for the remainder of this stage. Just doing some dodging and this one's always a pain. They have to go in opposite directions, otherwise you're not going to be able to dodge past them. So it's just luck of the draw. And then this is actually an encounter that can change. But this is actually an encounter that we want. There's one, I think one other encounter here with a slime and a wizard, but we got the slime and the bomb. Slime and bomb is faster, just because the bomb just explodes. So that's all we got to do is take out the slime and then just wait out the timer. We're gonna find even more materials from her school of wizardry. I forget the exact name of it, but that's the rough gist of what it is. Just need to sneak past this guy, flip that switch, and we will be on our merry way. Oh, nice. Good luck. Hey, we found the lead. We should set them free. But the captain is nowhere to be seen. So we need to let them go, and then we need to press onward, try to find the captain. And now we get to what, if for many, is the very first difficulty spike in the game. So we want Bushido, second slash, crit mask, fixer for Steam Punch. We want to get everything off of Pernica, put that bracer onto Auric. And now we have a tricky fight. So this fight is by and far where many encounter their first real difficulty spike in the game. This fight can be dangerous. They combo together very well. The Captain Canary, the unicycling robot, inflicts some status effects, drops our defenses against arcane, which is what the dragon dishes out. So they just end up stacking in a very powerful fashion, and it can be quite tricky to deal with. But we're going to start this off by taking down Captain Canary. Captain Canary gets 2 turns. 2 turns every time it's their turn, which we don't like having to deal with. So we're just going to do our best to lower them down. And again, we're mostly just using status effects to get that accomplished. And then we're going to play a little bit defensive on top of it. With regeneration. There's nothing that's too complicated other than when this happens. So paralysis is the thing that can make you whiff. Oh no, I should not have used poison. That's why I shouldn't use poison. So if paralysis happens, then your chance of using a spell or using a card are 50-50. Very similar to Pokemon. But unfortunately, that card just disappears, and that was poison, and we wanted that poison. Now we need poison again. Hopefully we can get it. Did. So we can heal off that confusion, which makes it so that I could potentially hit teammates or just choose the wrong target. Oh, that's mean. We got the poison in, so we're gonna be able to finish this out. So let's bring them back. Let's just try to take down Captain Canary. We need to do something. And we have the cards for it. Okay, the poison will finish off Captain Canary on its own, so we can start stacking status effects on the dragon now. If we had extra status effects, we would have liked to toss them on the dragon early, because the dragon has no way to heal itself. But it's just a tricky thing to do. To fit in when we really need to take down Captain Canary. Captain Canary is the one that's really causing the stacking terribleness that we do not want to have to deal with. You'll see a card that I'm using called Bushido, which is just a very important card for basically the remainder of the game. But Bushido increases your crit hit chance. So at the cost of a little bit of time, we can, or at the cost of just using a card that gains steam, we can increase our crit hit chance. And crits increase your damage by 50%. Not the most useful right now when we're still very dependent. We are still very dependent on our status effects to do all the work for us, but every little bit counts. If we end up gaining a little bit of extra damage here and there, it will only speed things up for us. But yeah, this is going to be a bit of a slog again, just dishing out the last bits of damage to this Drake. Again, another spot to fit in some donations. Lucky no paralysis. Then we probably just focus on damage. So if we can get it, I would love to show off. We didn't get it. But there's a move that Auric knows called Cyclone Slash. And it's going to be critical for much of the later portions of this game, but it essentially just hits 2 times for every single steam point you have. It uses up all of the steam you've built up, but it hits 2 times for every single one used. And right now it's not going to do too much damage because Auric has incredibly low offense at this low of level, but later on will be key to an essential strategy. We beat the dragon and Captain Canary, rescued the captain, and the captain doesn't remember that Armili's even a part of the League of Heroes and doesn't really seem that interested in taking down this evil army at all, so they kind of just leave. And so we have to try to press onward and do as good heroes do and take down the evil army. But our only lead right now, because the Captain Canary got away from us, is the fact that we found those Academy papers. So we're gonna go to Copernica's alma mater. But it's locked. A pair of devious mischievous deviants have locked the gate on us. And unfortunately, Actually, I don't believe they have locked the gate. I believe it's locked, but they very snidely commented where we can get a magical source that can break the lock. So we're gonna go into a little bit of lost wood situation here. Get some money, and then just head straight to the boss fight. It's an incredibly short stage. And that's all we did at the shop there, was purchase some status effect healing items. So we will need them for the coming fights. Not this one, because we just got to take down a slime. This one's just going to be a slog again. Going to be letting poison and bleed do the damage for us, and just mixing in some Bushidos to maybe attempt for crit chances on our melee. Other than that, it's another pretty much just a slog. Trying to take down the boss through status effects, because it's honestly our greatest source of damage right now. So yeah, this would be another. And it's another situation where we could take down the ads there, but it wouldn't do us any good. Because we only need to take down the boss and then the fight ends. So yeah, this would be another wide open time for some donations while we're just chipping away at the health. And yeah, what I'm also doing is just keeping a prolonged mental timer in my head for when these status effects are going to go, or when they're going to fall off. These status effects typically last for 3 turns. So we just want to make sure that when the status effect is going to go off, we have the right cards ready to immediately reapply it. So after this turn, poison is going to fall off. I already have poison in my cards, in my hand, ready to apply it right away again. And when the status effect falls off, it still applies its damage, then it falls off. So yeah, there's the poison tick, and then we can just take it down, reapply it as soon as it's gone. And if we can here, we should probably, yeah, we'll be within range. If we can get a Cyclone Slash and a Bushido. Fortunately, we but that's okay. Because this boss is really weak to electric damage, which is what Cyclone Slash does. But even with that, Oryx damage is just so low that it's only really useful as a finisher. Only useful as a finisher if we have low amounts of... if we have a high amount of steam remaining. Because it does use up all your steam. So yeah, we got the thing that opens up the lock, so we're ready to head on in to the academy. And this, again, is another very short mission. We're just gonna find another thing blocking our path, and we'll have to deal with one small fight. Which are mainly, again, just this time, instead of status effects, we're just gonna let our melee kind of dish out the damage, because their Brave Busters do a pretty significant chunk of damage. We're gonna be reliant on them for this short fight, and then we're just gonna run through the remainder of the stage, and that would be we would go onward. And again, one thing that I'm always doing is, if I'm seeing something in my hand that's not going to be of use to me in either this turn or the next turn, I'm making sure that I'm swapping it out. That I'm using my 2 redraws when they are available. That's unfortunate. That mana barrier is going to slow things down. And this should hopefully wipe them down, though. Okay. stinks at it. Heck! I thank you, Gam, for the raid. I'm in the a little bit of in a predicament, or I'm recording an RPG limit break type of submission video where I'm doing my best to explain in great detail of what I'm doing for this run. Thank you for your support. So yeah, chat is not on stream for this, and alerts are muted while I'm attempting to do my best to treat this like a marathon style run. But welcome everyone. Thank you so much, Cam, for the raid. I appreciate it. And yeah, while you guys are here, you can essentially be my couch for the theoretical marathon run. If you so decide that you want to stick around and see what this run's about, and if you're curious about anything that I'm doing, you can feel free to ask, and I will do my best to explain. Which would be a perfectly fine time to do it right now, especially because this chapter we just kind of run to the very end and just do some very simple dodges. Thank you for the good luck, Gold. I hope it gets accepted too. Also, Tim.Tom, thank you for the help. Hi. Hello and welcome. Welcome, everyone. Thank you again so much for that. Why should they let me do a marathon run? Because this is an RPG game that didn't get a whole... I don't feel like it got too much attention, but it's from the SteamWorld devs, so if you knew them, you knew this game existed. But this game is really a fascinating game. There's so many interesting and intricate combinations that you can do with the cards that are given to you and with the various characters. You can really develop a wide array of strategies to deal with a lot of different scenarios. And you're not going to be seeing a whole lot of different strategies being used in the speedrun just because we're trying to kind of do optimal, and there's some pretty prominent strategies that we can utilize in the near future that kind of set things in stone as far as party layouts and certain combinations of cards that we can utilize. But it's an excellent speedrun. I am not much of a speedrunner in all honesty myself. This is like the only game that I've really speedrun that I've taken incredibly passionately, and that is unfortunate that Armilly got put to sleep there. But there's so many different combinations and trying to figure out what the best strategies were, and then on top of it all, I actually quite enjoy the fact that there's a large degree of randomness and improvisation when you actually are getting into the fights. You're constantly doing this juggle of trying to build your deck in a way that that you can get access to the right cards and combinations for all the things you want to pull off. You're trying to think 2 turns in advance. Gosh, that is unfortunate that we're just getting really messed up by these status effects. We're just gonna have to wait. It's gonna be blinded again. This boss likes to blind every time their Steam is full, which is frustrating. I should have also healed away Armilly's blind. But yeah, so in speedrunning this, it's this very fine juggling act. I'm just gonna go through the blind, try for it through the blind. Okay, that whiff, please hit. Okay, we got the lead. That's the important part. Oh my gosh, we're getting very bad luck on these blinds. But yeah, it's this constant juggling act that no run's really ever the same, and you're doing this constant type of immediate calculation of what needs to be done, not only this turn but on the following turn. Okay, we didn't get blinded there. That's good. We can get our status effects back on. This has been a very, very, very poor fight. We would normally like to keep our status effects up as often as possible, but it's very difficult to do against this fight because of the constant barrage of status effects. Their breath has a chance of blinding every single person, such as right then when it landed blind on everyone. Everyone except for Auric. And it's just very frustrating to deal with, and then can also put some of your party members to sleep. A very, very, very annoying fight. But now we pick up our final party member, which is the twins there. And the twins are not support status, or not a support member, but they are our debuff member. So they're also going to be dishing out status effects, but they're also on top of it going to be debuffing the enemy. And they have some very critical and dangerous status effects that they can do that we will see basically from next chapter until the end of the game. Also, this is a very frustrating dodge to do. The top enemy needs to be facing to the right, and then after that, the top enemy needs to move to the right, and the bottom enemy needs to move to the left. It is a very finicky dodge, but for the most part, it's still faster to get this dodge than actually doing the fight, as much as it does not sometimes want to cooperate. Come on. There we go. Yeah, for the rest of this, we're kind of just going to be picking up some items, traveling through a maze. Though we need to, I should make note of the first item that we're going to get from another teleporter maze here. Is that we're going to pick up Doom. Doom is the key to a large amount of strategies that we're going to be using in the next boss, or in almost every boss from now until the end of the game. We're going to set up that, so we're going to kite this enemy. So the main gimmick behind Doom is that it's a status effect that is more treated like a curse rather than a status effect on enemies. It doesn't spread like other status effects do, but it lasts for 3 turns like many other status effects. But what it does is on every single hit that the enemy takes, it also does a % max health damage. And if you'll remember, I discussed Auric's capability and ability with Cyclone Slash, an ability that with as high of for every steam pressure that we have built up, they dish out 2 hits. So you're probably already immediately thinking max health damage or % max health damage in combination with something that does a lot of hits. It's gonna basically wipe the floor with just about every single enemy. That's unfortunate. I could have dodged that. I always forget that you have to dodge this one to the bottom. Not enough space on the top. And that's the end of that chapter. Very, very slow dragon fight. But now we get our first extended shopping section. Gonna upgrade our melee and Oryx weapons. We're gonna purchase an increase to elemental damages. We're gonna purchase fire damage for our melee. And we're gonna adjust our deck to try and dish out a bunch of status effects and other nonsense to try and chip down the boss as fast as we possibly can. I cut and go. And then we want to do our equipping: Journeyman's Badge, a Stone, Witch's Drum, Silver Bracer, Scout Badge, active party, get twins in, and now we are rolling with our final party for the end of the game. For the remainder of the game, we will use no other party members. Galileo and Copernica will unfortunately sit on the sidelines. But now we're starting to get to the point where we are going to have to actively manage in our heads what we're trying to accomplish. So I might go into kind of zone where I'm just speaking aloud what I'm trying to accomplish with every single turn. Unfortunately, what I'm trying to do at the start here is to get combo cards with our melee and Oryx, or our melee and the twins. So I'm trying to get Envenom, which gives me the chance on physical damage to apply poison. But it's a chance. Unfortunately, we didn't grab it. And then our melee's combo card still unleashes the bleed. But I gave our melee Envenom as well, so there's the bleed and the poison on the same turn. Or it got stopped. That's unfortunate. We can start off Doom right away. Because as soon as Auric is free, we're going to see the full force of the Doom Cyclone combo. You're already seeing the Doom take every single time that they take damage. So now we can do this, into this. So increased crit chance. This mass also increases crit chance. And watch the health. That's about like 5,000, 6,000 damage in one quick turn. We're hoping for another Cyclone Slash if we can get it. That's unfortunate, but this should be enough to kill anyway, because again, we're wanting to do multiple hits, and there it is. Boss fight down. Status effects plus Doom plus Cyclone Slash is gonna be our bread and butter for the next large segment of the game. It is by far our fastest damage potential. But yeah, story-wise, we've caught up to we just faced the headmistress. We've just faced the headmistress of the Mage Academy. And it turns out their stuff didn't get or didn't get stolen. They kind of willingly gave all those magics to the evil army. So unfortunately, we had to face down against the mistress, and she gave us some hints towards what they are planning to do next. And so with that, we head into this spooky forest, and we are on our way. We are on our way to track down. Actually, what she gave us is what is the evil army going after, and what they're going after is the heart of the evil beast. the evil beast that that Gilgamesh and Oryx so long ago defeated. They ended up not really defeating it. What they ended up doing was weakening it enough to the point where it could be captured or maintain, or gosh, why can't I think of the right word? Be sealed by separating it from its core. Sealed away. Yes, that would be a much better descriptor. And this fight, unfortunately, is not. There's two fights that can occur here, and this was the one we did not want, which is just unfortunate. It's just a very slow fight, as well as obviously I'm trying to do my best to explain the story. But yeah, so the headmistress gave us the whereabouts of where that core should be located, and it's in a village through this spooky forest. So we are making our way over there to try and track down that core so we can get to it, so that we can get to it before the evil army does. Because whatever it is they're planning to do with that core, it cannot be a good thing. So this is my favorite dodge in the game. So unfortunately, this one's a bit of a pain in the butt to actually dodge through. But if we just give them a little loop-de-doo. Dang it. That was honestly just bad luck that enemy was facing towards us. Normally, the cycles line up where they would not be facing toward us, but what can you do? We'll just have to give them the loop-de-loo one more time. Yeah, they are. This is not great. Please go to the right. Our way around. There we go. That's better. Pick up Zephyr Cape, which just gives us a little bit of dodge chance on the twins because their health is very low. Victory, Heroic Strike, Hot Iron, Bravado. Drain Strength instead of Drain Mind. Okay. And then we know we're on the right direction because here's this person again. Captain Canary, the third fight. This one's a pretty short one. If we can land poison and bleed, and then get set up for another Doom Cyclone combo, this fight will be over before you know it. That's unfortunate. We didn't get a combo card for the twins or for really. But now we want to get the bleed in. If we I didn't want to cycle that through. That's fine. We got our bleed in. So now we just want our Doom Cyclone. Our Doom Cyclone should be enough to finish the job. Didn't get everything we wanted, but we can at the very least get Doom, get Demon, which is a mask that also increases Oryx crit chance. So, and a lovely gimmick, or a lovely happenstance with Doom Cyclone. You'll notice that it's doing arcane damage as max damage, so the enemy can have resistances, and there you go. So the enemy can have resistance to Doom's damage because it's an arcane damage. If they have arcane resistance, then it's going to do less. But the game has to calculate where that damage came from, and if we're causing the hit, it accounts us as doing the Doom damage, not the curse itself. So by boosting Oryx arcane damage, or arcane elemental power, we are actually increasing how much damage Doom does. We're also have an elemental increaser for lightning damage on Auric, which is what Cyclone Slash's damage does, just for a little bit extra. And then you'll notice that we're also using Bushido and the mask that increases crit chance on Auric, because something that I'm not sure was directly known, or directly intended, but the Doom damage can also crit. So the Doom damage can also crit, so we're constantly so we're increasing the arcane damage that we're doing with Auric. We're increasing the lightning damage, which is what Cyclone does. And then we're also having our crit chance as high as possible, because dealing max HP % damage, critted, elemental boosted, it's a lot of stacking damage on top of each other, and that's how we're wiping out 50+% of the boss's HP with a single Cyclone Slash combo. And real quick there, we entered this town. Which was our clue as to where the thing was, which ends up being the twins' home village. So we stopped by their home. To pick up a card, because there's some cutscene based cards that you pick up, and the card we get gives us a high percentage chance of evasion for a single turn. Just a very safe card. That's unfortunate. We're just gonna have to dump some stuff here. So again, we're trying to just stack up, get our steam built up, stack bleed on the enemy with Armili's combo cards, and then with Envenom on the twins, we are trying to get poison on them. Again, max % HP damage is our friend. Armili's unfortunately paralyzed. That shouldn't be too bad here. So we should have just about everything set up. We've got our crit mask, and we've got just about everything set up for another powerful Doom Cyclone. If we can get bleed from our melee this turn, that would probably be helpful for us. Unfortunately, we can't. Okay. We'll just have to boost up best we can and just try to kill it with the Cyclone Slash. And not quite. Unfortunately, this dragon is incredibly resistant to electric, which is Cyclone Slash's damage. So now we just want to get these last ticks in with the cycle, or with the Doom and poison procs, and that should be it for this boss. And so yeah, we ended up talking to someone and said that we needed to retrieve something for them in a puzzle that we would normally have to run through this entire area to find the sigils and do the puzzle. But the puzzle's solution's always the same. So we can kind of get that over with very quickly. Weapon upgrade on all of our people, and vile weaponry, which lets us poison. It lets us poison. What? 1, 2, 3. Heroic. Heroic strength. Strength combo for Envenoms, because we don't need Envenom anymore. We have guaranteed poisons that we can get with combo cards. And then we got to play it safe here because we need to fight in an arena. So this is going to be where we're going to be reliant on our Millie's damage rather than Auric. But we also want to be dishing out status effects. So now we have this new combo card with our new weapon that we got on the twins. That allows us to poison the entire enemy party, guaranteed. It's a very quick and easy way to stack up poison. And then we are just trying to finish these as fast as possible, mainly using our Millie's good base damages. As well as we're trying to fit in cut purses when we can, because we need money and they steal money from us. Also, yeah, Gold Rush asks if there's they expect that there's a large amount of RNG in this game, and there is quite a significant degree. But a lot of the strategizing that is done before we really went hard into the run was to do our best to create our deck in ways to mitigate that, so that we can try with the highest odds to achieve all of the goals we're trying to accomplish. And it's a very tricky balancing act, because sometimes it's like we need damage from our Millie, we need crit, we need Cyclone Slash stacks on Auric, we need all these different status effects from the twins, and it can sometimes be just a very, very difficult stats or balancing act that you're trying to do. And then there's always the constant improvisation that you're doing mid-combat with whatever cards you're doing, trying to plan this turn and then the next turn ahead. That it's a very active thinking speedrun, and I very much enjoy it for that. Oh, dang it. I could have finished there with a Brave Buster. That's my bad. I wasn't paying attention. Do you choose two weapons for the twins, or you just change one, or the other stays the same? The twins only have a singular weapon. Basically, the twin with the axe is the one that actually gets the weapon. The smaller one is the one who's doing like all the status effects and just doing little tick damages. So I think in game they're kind of just treating it like the twin. The twin with the axe is the one who's doing the heavy lifting there. Ah, that's unfortunate. We didn't really get any good combo cards, and we want to get that big one out of the way as soon as possible. And now it's healed. Dang it. Yeah, there something I know I missed and or just glossed over while we were running through everything is that sometimes I'm picking up some of these treasure chests and stuff along the way, and we're not going to use what's inside. We kind of just need... Oh, gosh dang it. Many times we just really need money later on in the game, so we gosh dang, are just reliant on picking up some items that have high sell values while we're progressing through the game. Drain, cut first, boom. Now, and it's one of the benefits of having our Millie in the party is that our Millie can dish out a lot of damage, but a lot of the strategies that we employ and that we plan around in this game are really only for boss fights. So sometimes these just smaller fights can drag on a lot longer than we want them to, just because our deck is just not built for dealing with these multiple weaker enemies. We're mainly trying to dish out a lot of damage to a single target. Our Millie can handle it, but she can only do so much on her own. And this is a chapter that we basically don't do anything in. It's another one where you would normally search through the entire area trying to find these sigils to solve this puzzle, but the solution is always the same. So we just pick up an item here. Again, another thing that we pick up just to sell. And then we mosey on right through. So now would be a good time if it was a marathon setting for donations, or if anyone in chat has any particular questions. We got some time. Because yeah, story-wise, we're just chasing after the druid who should know where the beast's core is located. Because he sent us on a mission, sent us into that arena, and then just kind of yeeted out of there. Long time viewer, first time donator. Just wanted to say, love the run. Keep doing what you do. Greetings from Germany. Thank you, Gamlord. I appreciate your $0 donation. Every donation matters. It actually does for for those charity marathons. The average donation is much lower than many people can potentially think of. So every single donation is significant. Also, Orb and Honk. And we found out right there in that little cutscene that this druid has kind of been sacrificing the people of the town in order to create this moon juice that's like an addictive drug type substance. So yay, a slight bit of cannibalistic action there. Unfortunate. Also unfortunate that Galileo drank some and kind of really was upset with themselves over that fact. And then we want second crit, because now we're going back to exactly the same strategy, or very similar strategy we were doing before. Skooma. Not too different from Skooma. But turns out what they were really doing is making the moon juice and the parts to foster this lovely evil tree that has the beast's core at its center, and it doesn't like its master very much. So whoops! Now we got to fight a giant tree. This fight has an extra layer added onto it because when its steam pressure is full, it launches a bad breath type attack. Very much akin to Final Fantasy Marlboro type of bad breath attack that can inflict a wide variety of status effects. Status effects that we do not want to have to do. So we're gonna do our best to inflict some status effects onto them so that we don't have to worry about it. I'm just gonna yeah, we're gonna get blind on it. What? It's just your average everyday demon tree. Southboys in chat was like, really bearing the lead with the whole demon tree thing. Just like, it's a demon tree. Perfect. So against all odds is actually what we wanted to maintain. And then Epidemic will refresh all of the status effects that are on that enemy, and then also spread those status effects to every enemy on screen. So now every one of the little arms are also blinded, and they're bleeding, and now they're poisoned. So this Bad Breath should not hit us, but it usually does. Oh my god! Okay, we're actually in a bit of trouble now. Let's... That was the worst RNG I've ever had. So that Bad Breath hit every single party member through blind, which is a 50% chance, and through against all odds, which is another 50% chance. That's frustrating. But this game unfortunately does that sometimes. And yeah, this is going to be a very slow fight now because unfortunately, I don't believe we can... we have... No. Yeah, we're gonna have to poison. 1 out of 64 chance of that. Yay for odds. Yeah, hopefully they're pretty low on health, although they did just heal. That's unfortunate. Also, we don't have a Bushido. We're just gonna go for hits. The Bad Breath should hopefully not eliminate Auric. Again, it's a blinded, so hopefully Auric is fine here. Okay, Auric's fine. Okay, the fight's over. Just needed that Bushido. And then an extra hit for good measure. But, say goodbye to 5,000 health. Oh, whoops. 8? Yeah. Sorry. I accidentally hit a split there. We don't split normally at Chapter 14 because there's nothing that we really do. But yeah, so we defeated our great evil tree. And we found the beast's core. Finally, we've made it. And we've taken it away before the evil army can get here. So now we need to try and bring it somewhere safe. Somewhere far away from... oh, crap, there's the army. Well, and that figure looks familiar. If you recognize all the statues we've been saving at. Hi, Gilgamesh. So, Gilgamesh, kind of a jerk nowadays. Kind of just paralyzes us, steals the core, and walks away. Because Gilgamesh's whole thing in this game is essentially that defeating the beast kind of left his life wanting. Kind of didn't know what to do with himself. So kind of wants an ego boost. If I'm gonna be completely honest, by reviving the beast and beating it for good this time instead of sealing it away. So yay. I guess the ulterior motive could be, or the ending motive could be finally ridding the beast and its core from the world. But you kind of have to revive it in order to do that. So not the grandest scheme in the world. And obviously we are not going to have any of that. We're going to go and take care of that. That was a very lucky dodge, but we need this one to look the opposite direction. Go. And I believe this is someone from one of the SteamWorld digs, just casually frozen. And we steal a golden gourd of some kind from them. Just for the money. And we are already on to the next boss fight. There's not a lot of downtime in this game. It's a very active RPG speedrun. That's a pretty good start. So for this fight, we're basically gonna try to spread all the status effects across the entirety of these four ogres, so that we can. Okay, that's great. So that we can whittle away all of their health at once, and we don't have to try and take out one at a time, which is very slow and very frustrating. But now that it's all of their status effects are on there, there's only one other status effect we want, which is right there with Heartbroken Hero, which we need to build up for. Heartbroken Hero does Despair, which prevents enemies from healing, which they're constantly casting regen themselves. So we want to spread that around to everyone as soon as possible, if we can. Okay, perfect. So Heartbroken Hero, Steel Strength, and then spread that all around. And then another fun quirk of this fight is that when one of them dies, they all cast an ability to buff themselves up. But if they have bleed on them, then obviously that's going to cause some damage. So we're going to try to set this up as best we can so that we knock down one of them, and then it knocks down all of them. All in a row. It's likely, looking at it right now, it's not going to happen. Especially... Okay, we did get an epidemic, so we can keep that up at least. So yeah, we're actually doing pretty well. So all the status effects just got refreshed with the epidemic. We're keeping their strength low so they can't kill us. And yeah, they should all start dying about the same time. Yeah, the entire front row died. Now it's 3 moves. 1, 2, 3. And then we just need to deliver the last blow. And they're gone. Normally you would like to kind of have a chain reaction type of thing, but in the end, if we can just get the status effects spread out so cleanly, we are fine with that. So now we enter the final, or the tower. So what good would an RPG without a mystical tower? Where we are going to, for the most part, be confronted with all of our misgivings and our woes about ourselves throughout this chapter, fighting shadow versions of previous bosses. So this is probably another great opportunity for, in a marathon setting, for donations and for anyone who's hanging out in chat to ask any other questions they may have about the game, or why I speedrun the game, anything like that. Oh, please go fast. Ah, dang it. This one's another tricky dodge situation. Sometimes I just won't be low enough and I'll get spotted there. Sometimes you'll be fast enough to make it through without getting caught there, but not all the time. That's unfortunate. Please turn around. Don't see. I said don't see. Plextanium asks why this game in particular. I think it came out at the right time, and it has, as far as speed running goes, it has the right. I don't know. It keeps me very active and engaged with it when I'm doing the speed run. So this game came out, I believe, April or May of last year, and I've basically taken to picking up a new speed game whenever whenever it's like SGDQ or RPG Limit Break time frame. So this game came out at that time, or around that time, and I just really liked the type of thought processes that went into trying to complete this quickly. Because it like there's a lot of setup. There's a lot of setup. There's a lot of setup in just developing what the best strategies are for the best time, and that was just learning what's capable within the game and what's available with the various party members that you have, and everything like that. So there's just a lot of possibilities, and I really liked trying to develop the various strategies that would be best for the various occasions. And then when I started doing the research and stuff to see what this was capable, or what could potentially be capable for this as a speedrun, there was only one speedrun that was on the board, and that was Roos, who's ran quite a few RPGs, and that they clocked in a time of 4 hours, and after just putting in some thought on what it would take to run this game quickly, and thought processes involved, I'm just like, I think I can do that. Oh no, I accidentally dropped Doom there. That's gonna make this fight incredibly slow. But yeah, so it just kind of was this multiplying factor for me of right time, right place. Where I felt I could do it. I was in that mood to pick up a new speed game, and the way you play it and the way the speedrun operates, it just kind of ticked every single one of the boxes. This is really unfortunate that I dropped that Doom. I did not mean to. It's just going through the motions too quickly. There we go. All right, now it's done. But yeah, so like all those things stacked up, and then as I got further in, just when I submitted my first run, I didn't really lean too much into the route that that Roos had set up. I instead just kind of wanted to go through the initial run through on my own. In terms of planning, routing, I wanted to go through the whole nitty gritty of developing a speedrun. And I came up with a lot of different strategies. And when I submitted my first run to the leaderboard, Roos reached out. It's just like, hey, we have a Discord, and we're talking through a bunch of strategies and stuff like that. And yours are very different from what we're doing. So they ended up bringing me in, and we had a lot of wonderful discussions on the various strategies we developed and why we wanted them to work the way they did. We experimented to find a lot of interesting features of the game, and how it calculates damage and where the multipliers come into play, and everything like that. So yeah, it was just a ton of fun, and because we're just going through shadow version fights of previous bosses, and we don't really have a whole lot to discuss. The main difference between Roos and eventually Stilljaws, the other prominent runner of this game, the main difference between their runs and my run was that they used Copernica as their third-party member alongside Auric and the Twins, because Auric and the Twins have the Doom Cyclone combo, which is one that many people figure out very early on. But then the third party member was kind of up in the air. You could kind of pick whoever you thought would best fit that scenario. Wow, I am getting very unlucky for paralysis. But yeah, so it just kind of was honestly pretty even through the longest for the longest time for this speed run. We were kind of just like Roos and Still were very steadily increasing their Copernica route, and I was slowly getting up to speed with my Armilli route, and it was like kind of in the end just looking very comparable, just that my Armilli route could probably dish out more damage in the long term. I'm just gonna heal the Twins just in case, because this should kill hopefully soon. Not quite. Let's just do poison and bleed finish. But yeah, it was like mostly comparable, just that Armilli was riskier because Copernica has shields that she casts that mitigate a lot of damage. She has a very early spell that she gets that lets you draw, I believe it lets you draw an extra card every turn. And then she gets a weapon that allows you to have an extra redraw every turn. So you just have a lot more play space with what you're doing in your deck with Copernica. Versus Armilli could be a lot more risky in some of these later fights, because kind of relying on damage, and we don't have as much utility that Copernica provides. But that was no longer the case. Once I developed a strategy for the upcoming chapter that kind of very quickly and succinctly put Armilli as the faster option. What are you gonna do? Dang it! This isn't a very fun dodge. So yeah, and I'll just honestly let that route speak for itself, or that strategy speaks for itself once we get to it. But it operates in a similar manner to Doom Cyclone, as just a tip towards it. But yeah, so we're basically still just working through all of the fears that we've developed over the course of the game, fighting shadow versions. Now Galileo is still feeling repentant over the moon juice that he drank, which was obviously made from the bodies of other dead robots. And having to chug a lot, we get like 150 moon juices right there. All right. Menu that we need to do. Shouts for heroic strikes. And next hit for cut purse. And then we just that big old tree we fought not too long ago. Well, we're fighting it again. So I think I've rambled on plenty. So I think now this would be another excellent opportunity for donations in a marathon setting, or again, if people have questions, I am more than willing to answer. It's good. Don't want to cast Doom right away. I always forget that. So the combo card that we give to Auric is Haste, which allows you to play 4 cards your next turn instead of 3. And I almost always forget that I use it whenever I do. Okay, that's actually all right. This is gonna slow down our steam generation here. But if we focus on our steam generation and basically on every single upcoming turn, then we shouldn't have too much problem getting that Doom Cyclone combo set up and ready to go again. Don't need a second. We gotta make sure that again we have to deal with the bad breath, so we have another 2 50% checks. Let's hope it works better than our last 2 50% checks. Clean miss across the board. That's what we like to see. Okay. Ah, crap. I'm not sure if this is gonna land on... Okay, it did land on the tree. Sometimes the target of your combo card can be dependent on who you attacked last. And if you use an all-hitting card, then it's like kind of up in the air on who it's actually gonna hit. So let's see if we can get poison. That's fine. Get Doom set up. We just need a Bushido. Just need a Bushido and we can finish off this. We didn't get it, so we're just gonna keep Bleed active because Bleed does multiple ticks. Doom will still be alive next turn, so we can get the Bushido. And we are reliant on the Bushido. The crits increase our damage so dramatically with the Doom Cyclone combo that it's almost completely necessary. Okay, good. I thought for a second there we weren't gonna get a Bushido. That's fine. Goodbye, tree. With that, and put a close on this chapter. Everyone's faced off against their fears and can proceed onward. Oh, and hey, look, they weren't very they weren't impressed by Captain Canary's performance. So they put him in his cell, and we're gonna leave him there. 'Cause he's a jerk. Where's the most damage Auric can do with one Cyclone Slash? That I could not... I would have to give you a mathematical example for that. But right now I need to focus on this purchase. We need Claymore. We need Beast Charm, Ogre Slayer. We need Boots Belt, Ogre Slayer. We need Beast Charm. Fine. Now we go through and sell all of our repair vials, all the moon juices. Takes a little while. Oh boy, we are not looking good on money. That's gonna be problematic. I'm just gonna sell that repair elixir right away anyway. We might be fine. All in, expose. We now want to purchase. Oh, actually, we missed. Sell all of the green material. Keep 60 of blue, so 33. Then we purchase 33 to get to 60 and 19. Oh yeah, we were very close on money. And this will allow us to upgrade to victory and expose. And yeah, we don't have a lot of recovery items. This is gonna be tricky. I'm gonna safety save. Dex, Spiking Air, Bravado, Heroic Strike, All In, Hot Irons, and Shouts. Expose for Epidemic Raven Strike. And we want Stone Lions for Cyclone Demon. Save. And now we are into the fights against ourselves. These fights are arguably the hardest in the game. These are very tricky to manage fights because you're basically fighting against 3 bosses at once, and they can do some pretty mean stuff. But we're gonna do our best to make sure that the worst does not happen. That's an unfortunate second Cheeto. Should be fine. Okay, so that's good. We want a Stone Lion. So Copernica can shield their entire party. We have a Stone Lion. We do that. Copernica can shield the entire party, but the shield is 25% of their max health. Their max health is like 8,000. So having a 2,000 damage shield is not what we want to deal with. Oh, that stinks. This is probably not going to work. But we're going to go for it anyway. Normally, we would want extra attack increases on our melee, but this should hopefully be enough anyway. Oh, it wasn't enough. So that's... Ah, and then she gets the shield out. Ah, that's what we get for going for it. That's what you do not want to happen. This is going to be a tricky predicament to try to recover from, because we do not want to deal with what Copernica throws out at max steam. But basically, the idea is that we would want to one-shot based on a lot of multipliers. We would want to just straight up one-shot Copernica before she has a chance to unleash her max steam move. But unfortunately, we didn't get the card we wanted. We're gonna go with an alternate strat. We're just gonna Cyclone Slash to do the finishing blow here. Go. So Copernica's down. Now we just got the other 2 to deal with. And oh boy, yeah, we are... that's not good. We do not have much in the way of of healing items now. It's the unfortunate circumstance sometimes is that our routing can be pretty money tight, and RNG unfortunately also has an impact on the money we earn through many of the fights and through the cut purses that we do to try and steal money from the enemy. So yeah, we're not sitting in the best of positions right now. Luckily, we can lower the power of this Gigaton Punch. Heck! Crazy guitar, man. Thank you for that raid. But now, okay, we got the all-in. We don't have... that's unfortunate. So we're just gonna set up this again. Thank you for the raid. I'm in the middle of doing a marathon type run of this game. I don't even think we have any full party heals. That's really unfortunate. Oh my gosh. Keep them alive. We are just we're not okay. We got Expose. This is probably going to be enough damage, but it's not guaranteed, but we can hope. Oh my gosh. Oh, this is really bad now. Oryx down. This is just going to be a very slow fight, unfortunately. Kind of whiffing or not getting an attack boost on our melee to guarantee that kill on Copernica. Really messes with what we had planned. But yeah, this game, the best descriptor I could have for it is that this is basically slay the Spire without, or slay the Spire but in a without the roguelike and just straight RPG. Oh man. We may not be able to make it out of this fight alive. Having a party member down and not being able to revive them is not a good proposition to be in. We're just gonna have to go for this. This is not enough. Does not help that you constantly heal yourself. Expose against the odds. Hit. I'm sorry, this is just a very slow recovery because we had a unfortunate happenstance there. Low money, low lots of things. But that should do it. There. Whew. That was really bad. But yeah, that's one of the tricky prospects of this game is that I'm also trying to commentate and do that sort of stuff while doing this, and unfortunately that makes me make mistakes that can end up costing. Oh, we did have one revive kit. Dang it. Ended up costing me a lot of time. So now, okay, that's all we needed. Just have better RNG, exactly. I don't know. I could have probably cycled my cards better. Planning ahead for when my buffs would have fallen off, etc. And now we're up against the anti-twins. Okay. We don't want Doom. We kind of want all these for later. That's unfortunate. Probably just save those. Also, yeah, I did miss the repair kit because normally anti-Galileo or Shadow Galileo is very resistant to physical attacks. So we want to finish Galileo down with a Doom Cyclone combo, like we had been doing earlier on in the game, rather than the all-in that we can do with our melee. But yeah, unfortunately, it just didn't pan out that way. Okay, we'll have a lot of status boosts, and they should be softened up enough that hopefully Expose will still be active. We'll do one more boost. We'll do that. And then this should... Let's see the damage count. Okay. 9,000 is good. It wasn't an insta-kill, but we'll take it. And now we just want to do the same exact thing to them. So I didn't properly explain the all-in strategy, but it's kind of it's very much stacking a lot of things. So I gave our melee an attack increaser. I gave our melee an attack increaser. that increases my strength by 5%. That's unfortunate. That increases my... okay. Wasn't the kill, but the status effect. Take them down soon. Increases our melee strength by... fresh poison. That increases our melee strength by 5% for every steam pressure I have. So if we're going with these strategies that just dump all of our steam pressure at one moment, you end up just getting a massive strength increase. And that's the twins down. And then we have a lot of cards that boost our melee strength, so we can increase it even further, give it even more multipliers. And then I equipped an item called the Ogre Slayer to our melee, that if an enemy has higher than 70% of their HP, it has a 70% crit chance on any hit they do to them. So if we stack Bushido with the Ogre Slayer, it's a guaranteed crit. So that's another 50% increase. We use Expose, which reduces the enemy's physical defense. That's another, I believe, 40% damage increase. And you start to see where all of these things just stack and stack and stack and stack together, that we can just pull off these insane damage numbers. Oh, that stinks. Clear those. And yeah, it's something that's only possible with all in on our milling. Okay, we do want. We don't have all in, which stinks. We just need the all-in card right now, because they're very weak already. So we just need to land the hit. We do not want to deal with the top one's full steam pressure attack. So we might have to Doom Cyclone if we don't get it, which we didn't. We don't even have Doom. This ain't gonna kill. That's a problem. We're gonna have to heal through this. This is a hit you never want to take. That's why. It's 533 to the whole party, which at this point is basically death. It's difficult for me to focus on everything that I need to do while trying to speak through all the different strategies that I'm doing. There we go. Now we don't have to deal with that anymore. And now we're going to attempt to just soften up the one on the right, and then use the all-in combo on the one on the bottom instead, because they have very low HP compared to the others. But they also heal on every single hit we attempt against them, which it just makes it very difficult to work around. Oh gosh, hitting the twins again. Yeah, we got the Bushido. We might be in a terrible situation here. Okay, they didn't attack. That's fine. We get all in. This should still be fine. We're just gonna try for it. Oh no, I used haste, so I have the extra turn. So expose, Bushido, all in. Drop the defenses, increase to 100%. Bam, 9,400. Oh, that stinks though. I don't have any recovery hits left, do I? Oh, that's not good. Stone Lion. We're gonna have to rely on poison to dish out the last damage. No, we can Doom Cyclone. We can Doom Cyclone. I do have boost crit, so. Ay. This could be. We're not in a great position here. Okay, they chose not to attack. It's fine by me. Stone Lion, chop, strength down. This is honestly like this is reminding me of before I developed the all-in strat. This is what it looked like. This absolute mess of fights. This is how the fights normally were in the speedrun before I developed all-in. And you can see, like, when it proceeds correctly, we can just wipe out one of the party members or one of the enemy bosses before they have a chance to even do anything. And it very, very, very much improves the time by multiple minutes. I'm sorry that I wasn't able to properly showcase it in this submission run, but it is quite incredible. Some of those. We are not sitting pretty on healing items. Okay. We need to change our deck because we're now done with those fights. All in is going to have to be sidelined because this was the most important fight for it. X hits expose. And then we're gonna one of win Cyclones, the Lion. Oh, we're also using a bit of a delay tactic there with Stone Lion. Stone Lion flinches an enemy's card. Can't flinch every card, but in those boss fights, it can flinch them guaranteed. So we can just delay some of those worst Steam pressure cards so that we can take them out before they have the chance to do it. But this fight is also another very, very dangerous one. But hopefully we can make quick work of it. We want to start off with status effects, take them down to second or half their health, at which point they will recover all of their health and remove all status effects. So we want to get the poison, get the bleed in to get them down to that point as soon as possible. And then we want to, at the same time, we want to be very close. We want to be very close to having max steam, so that as soon as they relieve all of the status effects from them, we can almost immediately follow in with the Doom Cyclone / combo. So we have the Doom, we have the Cyclone /. I want to reshuffle all of the other cards that I have to try and dish out status effects as best I can. I want poison now, which we got. I'd rather have the poison active to guarantee that we're going to be pushed into the second phase. Okay. That hurts a lot. Okay, phase 2. Okay, perfect. We can get the bleed back on. Stinks that we had to use some steam to do that. I want the poison on now. Which we can just stack Doom on now. We upgraded Doom so it lasts 5 turns instead of 3, so we can set that in early and let the status effects and poison also trigger it. Also, we're disheartened right now, so we can't even heal if we wanted to. which is actually a very big problem right now. We need to dump in all the damage we can. That to victory, Cyclone Slash. This honestly might be a wipe. Oh, okay. Survived it. Oh, perfect. Okay. Whew. We wouldn't have been able to heal if that attack kills someone, it also deals damage to the other characters. So if all of our party was at low health there, we could have just wiped. If one of them went down, most likely all of them would have gone down. And another thing that I did with Auric. So Auric didn't have a chance to show it off while we were doing the all-in strategy against the fight against ourselves. Also, sorry, we're gonna have to skip. Nope, don't pause. Skip. There we go. I accidentally didn't trigger didn't trigger the split after anti-Auric. But we equipped something onto Auric that whenever he lands a crit, it's going to do % current health HP damage to the target. And because we're having quite the high crit % chance, that's going to dish out a lot of extra damage. We also equipped one of the Wind, which changes all of Auric's physical attacks to lightning attacks. Which conveniently also includes the damage done by that % max health on crit. So we can increase that by our lightning damage boost that we get with one with the Wind. We want Expose for Second Mind and Epidemic, and then we're on to the last 2 fights of the game. So here we are. We haven't exactly stopped Gilgamesh yet in summoning the big bad. That's an unfortunate start. Crap. That'll have to do. Oh, the Berserk ruins everything. Because now we can't do combo cards, so it just delays this. Luckily, this fight we can't really lose. He's just doing % current health damage to us. So we can't really lose this fight. It's just gonna drag on forever because we can't do the status effects that we would normally try to do. We can just do that. This probably won't kill because we don't have crit increase. Next turn, though, we should be able to just dish out regular hits. And hit. There we go. And just to get them low, and then Gilgamesh is just like, I don't care what you guys are doing. I'm gonna go through this with this plan anyway. So yeah, he's reviving the great and terrible beast that once threatened the entire world. He took down once, but I just really wanted to take down a second time. And he's just like, hey, he's a bit bigger than I thought. That hurt a bit more than I thought. I can still do this. Right? Have at you. I don't think he's got this. Nope, he doesn't have it. Well, I guess it's our turn. Thanks for bringing back the big old bad for the ego boost you really wanted. Let's let's take care of that for you. So off to the final boss fight we go. Conveniently, Gilgamesh still had enough power to fully heal us before sending us on our way to fix his problem. But now we're on to the final fight. We got to take down the hands before we can do any damage to the mouth. And this one's gonna proceed where we're gonna want to take down the top hand as soon as we can. Take down the bottom hand second because we don't want to deal with the status effects that the top hand is causing. And then once they're both down, then we can attack the core, which we want to attack with Doom Cyclone. Dang it. It's fine, we can get a haste. So I want a one with the wind and then Cyclone Slash that top hand, and it should go down because it takes a lot of % damage. That's not what I wanted, but we can cause a bleed on the bottom hand. Actually, let's take a giant chunk out of the bottom hand. Yeah, that should go down in a couple turns. That's actually bad. So we want to take down the mouth as soon as it opens. We do not want to have it linger at all. Let's see. Let's expose. Let's shoot. Doom. Break, strike. Because yeah, the main body does a lot of stuff that we don't want to deal with when it's open. So we want to eliminate that as soon as possible. That Bushido Yai to take down the bottom hand. We're gonna have to just build up steam on the top hand. Hopefully our melee can dish out some Brave Busters. Okay, this should be fine. Doom should still be active on the head. We have a Cyclone Slash ready to go. There we go. Okay, while it's open, we don't have Bushido active though. We're just gonna have to rely on the multiple hits, and I think it should be fine. Actually, we do have Bushido active. What am I talking about? And there's half the boss's HP. Thank you, % max or % current health damage. And that's damage gated, so we couldn't have done any more damage than that. But we just mainly wanted to reach a damage threshold. Now we want to do the same thing again, except this time we really want to be sure as soon as the second hand goes down, we want to have full steam and a Doom Cyclone combo ready to go. We just want to end this fight as soon as possible. And with one well-placed Doom Cyclone, it should be able to do just that. Hitting the top one with physical causes it to counter. Hitting the bottom one with magic causes it to counter. It's unfortunate that we got... that stinks. We would normally want to stop this steam pressure attack because it causes each of the hands to have 2 turns next turn instead of 1, which is problematic. We'll just do an early Cyclone, and then we'll do a soft Cyclone there just to get the chain to haste, and then we'll just build up poison, poison, steam pressure, bleed, get all of them ready to go once the main body opens up. And then hopefully we can just Doom Cyclone that down, and that'll be the end of the game. This is fine. We can haste again. Just building up as much steam pressure as I can get. Luckily, the lower hand doesn't do that much. It just does magic damage, and typically we can survive it. Although that hurts quite a bit. That's actually better. And then we can heal. That'll bleed. We're gonna get poison. We can get Doom up. Let's expose, drain your magic, cast Doom on the center, that'll get poison up. On the mid, on the center, when that becomes available, Auric might die here. Unfortunately did. So we'll have to revive them. We have Bushido. We need Cyclone Slash though. So the mouth's gonna be open here, still has Doom active. We want as much Auric boosting as we can. Oh, we don't have a Cyclone Slash ready. Ah, that's a problem. Dang it. We can do damage. I'm just hoping not for the breath attack. Okay, that's fine. The breath attack obviously does a lot of garbage type stuff to us that we don't want to deal with. Come on. Maybe just go for our melee crits here instead. At the very least to get to the next damage gate maybe. Okay. Hopefully Doom is still active and we can just close this out because the mouth remains open from now until the end of the fight. Okay, Doom is still active. We have our abilities. So, no, don't attack the hand, please. There goes the last of the health. Down, down, and then weirdly the hand explodes later in time. So we've done it. Y'all know a speedrunner's favorite cooking herb by now? I think I know what it is, Casa. Is it thyme? I think it might be time. Yeah, so that is SteamWorld Quest. We've defeated the big bad. We've defeated the big bad boss. It kind of destroyed a lot of stuff and we aren't really sure what to do with its body, but it conveniently landed right in front of the League of Heroes, which already has a lot of golfing equipment, so we're just gonna turn it into a mini golf course. And that's actually what happens. We actually turn the dead great evil being into a mini golf course. But yeah, that is SteamWorld Quest. It's a very I love this speedrun. I love this game. There's so much to this game that I don't directly that you don't directly see because I'm just doing singular strats that only work on the easiest difficulty because we have to be at such a low level. And they're like increasing the difficulty just to normal, just for some context there. During the fighting ourselves, Galio had 50% resistance to physical attacks. In normal difficulty, that's complete immunity. You cannot hit Galio with physical attacks at all. And that's just normal. That's the normal difficulty. This game does a lot to make you experiment and have a bunch of different strategies for a bunch of different situations. And you don't see a lot of that in this speedrun, but it just has so many different combinations, so many different possibilities. And the speedrun itself is a lot of improvisation, a lot of taking what the game is throwing at you and doing your darndest to mitigate the RNG as much as possible, redraw for the turn ahead and the following turn, plan out your steps in advance. And it's just a very active and it's very execution heavy for an RPG speedrun. And yeah, I absolutely love this game. I hope you enjoyed that speedrun. I hope I didn't ramble too much, even though I very well know I did, because there's so much to explain and not enough time. It unfortunately is. It is a speedrun that is difficult to just watch and understand. If you don't understand how the game operates, you kind of have like, just like, why is he picking the cards he's picking? Why did he dump those cards that turn? Why are you using the strategies you're using? There's just so much to explain, so much pre-thought that went into this run, and to develop it into what came or what it is now. Because like the time I got 2:14:37 before the all-in strats, that would have been a world record. And I messed up a lot in this because I was doing my best to explain and talk through everything, and I still beat I still beat the time that the current best Copernica route has been, and that just shows how absolutely powerful all in is, even if I can't even pull it off correctly. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed. I hope this run excites you, that you think it would be worthy to have in RPG Limit Break, and I would be delighted to show it off there if given the chance. So yeah, thank you so much, and I hope you have a wonderful planning process for the marathon.